What are my thoughts on covert narcissism and a victim mentality? So in my last video, a lot of people commented that there's a psychology distinction between narcissistic personality disorder and narcissistic traits. A lot of practitioners believe that narcissism is insurmountable, that it's basically immovable and will never change. I should make the caveat that I don't believe that. I don't believe that narcissistic personality disorder won't change if you work on it. The problem with narcissism is that narcissists almost never are willing to admit their narcissism. Their protector structure is formed around never being able to see that response in themselves. And this is more of a parts work perspective, and I can make another video on that. But the way that I see narcissism is it is an immaturity. It is a sign that someone never grew up. It is a natural developmental stage for people to be narcissistic when they are children. So for whatever reason, the environment was not supportive of that person growing out of that narcissistic stage in childhood. So they've maintained a self-centeredness. And in that self-centeredness, they don't fully individuate other people as people. They kind of see other people as extensions of themselves. This is why in narcissistic parents, the children that they have basically function as mirrors for the parent's own ego. And this is incredibly damaging to children because not only is the parent not able to meet the child's needs, they're not even able to really mentally form the idea that the child has needs. They see the child as only a mirror for their own ego and a way to inflate themselves. When you grow up in a traumatic environment, there are sort of these two paths you can take. You can take the narcissistic path, or you can take the codependent caretaker path. And whatever your individual personality traits are, whatever your environment is supportive, that's the path you'll take. I took the more narcissistic path. My sister took the codependent path. She remained connected to her emotions. She remained attuned to other humans, and she became a people pleaser. For myself, I chose to close down and not attune to anybody and not attune to myself and become dissociated. So that part of me that was supposed to emotionally mature never got to mature, and I arrived in adulthood completely self-centered. None of my compassion systems had developed, and I had an incredible capability to hurt other people because I couldn't feel other people's emotions. The typical kind of overt narcissism we think about is just like, oh my God, I'm the best, everyone else sucks, I'm gonna manipulate everybody very openly. Covert narcissism is doing all those things but hiding it and pretending that you care about other people's emotions. So the way that I see it, someone is going to become an overt narcissist if the environment supports that, and if for whatever reason they get feedback or their narcissism doesn't work, their manipulation doesn't work, then they will become more of a covert narcissist. I believe if the environment stops responding to narcissism as an adaptation, then the narcissism is slowly trained out of the person. Narcissists, either covert or overt, don't fully understand the action of what they're doing. It is a combination of body-mind responses that are trauma adaptations. So there are some aspects to the narcissism, especially the concept of self and the concept of other, that just aren't fully formed in the person. And that maturation process needs to take place in them. And it can really only take place in the same place that everyone else's healing takes place, in a felt sense of safety in the body and in a co-creative, supportive relationship with at least one other human being, but ideally more than one other human being. Now, it is very hard for narcissists to develop human relationships because the adaptation that they have is inherently antisocial. It inherently hurts people. So they may have the experience that they constantly burn bridges and that nobody cares for them. And that's kind of where the victim mentality comes in. They have never really had the experience of caring about someone else's emotions in the way that most people do. They are this narcissistic child. Children are born into the world expecting to receive things in a very narcissistic way, but it's very natural. And I believe the narcissist is in that same place, that childlike everybody give me everything. I'm not expected to give anybody anything because I'm a child. I believe this is the double bind that a lot of destitute people are in. Usually they have some form of neurodivergence or head trauma that makes them incapable of giving their body and their work to capitalism. But then they also have the tricky aspect of not being able to form human relationships. So usually if someone can't give their body to capitalism, there is somebody who will partner with them and take care of them. But if you don't have both of those things, you can't devote your labor to capitalism and you can't form human relationships, there's usually no other support system for you. So the person who asked this question, I don't know if that's the direction you wanted me to go in, because probably you have a narcissist in your life that you are very angry and hurt by. And I just want to validate that anger and hurt. But yes, these are my thoughts on covert narcissism.